Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Virtual Agent Academy. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get started. Before we get started, I did want to share to please visit our Virtual Agent and NLU community. There you can find the latest content and question and answers from our experts, explore best practices and update content, and use the experience of others. If you're watching us from YouTube, please visit us at the Virtual Agent community channel. There are other videos there. And if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to like the video or click subscribe. We do have other Academy series going on within our ServiceNow organization, including Mobile Academy and HR Academy. So today, our topic is to unlock password reset abilities with the virtual agent. So some of you may be familiar with the password reset features and abilities from the IT service management solution in the Paris release. Well, in the Quebec release, we have now moved that to the virtual agent, so your users can use that. Our brief agenda. So the problem statement we're looking at today is users are probably bombarding your service desk agents with password problems, and there's probably a lot of calls and emails related to that. So our opportunity is it possible to automate this away? And the answer to that is yes. So new in Quebec, users can perform password reset, password change, and account unlock actions through virtual agent conversations. Even non-logged in users can reset password and unlocked accounts from a sign-in screen, most likely from your portal. The virtual agent conversations that support password reset abilities, it also supports identity verification options such as Google Authenticator, an SMS code, or security questions. And you can display what your password rules are, what your organization's password rules are to the user. If this sounds awesome, which it is, then enabling this feature requires the virtual agent plugin, which is included as part of your ITSM or HRSD Pro or Enterprise SKU, as well with the password reset virtual agent conversations plugin, and the password reset the core plugin, which again you may be familiar with if you use password reset in the Paris release. The one last thing I'm going to call out before I turn it over to our exercise and demo is that the virtual agent has made a platform enhancement to the client to allow for masked secured input. So you see here, when someone wants to type in a password, they don't see what they type in. It is masked and secured, and it is also secured and encrypted behind the scenes. As always, don't forget, if you have any questions, feel free to use not the chat, but the Q&A feature of Zoom. So moving on, I'm going to turn it over to Paul Van Nistelrooij. He is a product success manager with IT service management, and he'll be showing us an exercise of how to configure and what password reset abilities and virtual agent looks like. Paul, take it away.
Thanks, Victor. Let me start by sharing my screen. Right, so as Victor was telling, password reset can be done, is now virtual agent enabled. So what I'd like to start off with before showing how to set this up is what does the end result look like. I'm currently logged into a portal. I'm logged in as Joe employee, and I see my virtual agent button down here. So if I open that up, it shows my previous conversation, and as soon as I start typing anything, it will suggest, first of all, to have a look at my 10 open issues, which is a lot. But for now, I can either type in reset password or change password, or I can go to show me everything. And show me everything, I can select change password. As you can see here, there's unlock account there, so there's a couple of those new processes. At this point, I'm going to change my password because I want to set a new password as part of my password policy. Right? I haven't forgotten it, but it's time for me to reset that. First thing you'll notice is that it will support at this point two separate password reset processes. One for SAP HANA, the other one for the default self-service. I'm going to pick default self-service for now. And it says, what is your current password? So there's no authentication questions required if I know my current password. Let's hope I remembered that properly. And as you can see, it doesn't show my current password. That's hidden. Let's enter that, and then it's going to ask me. All right, here's my password reset requirements, which is very handy to put it in this place because I can clearly see what my new password must what requirements it must meet. What do you want my new password to be? Let's type something new that meets that requirements. Hit enter, and then just for verification, let's do that one more time, and let's see if that works. Takes a bit of time. At this point, it's resetting my password in the background, and I have set my new password to the new value. Anything else I can assist you with? Not at this point. So this is me being logged in, and I want to change my password. There's another possibility that I want to reset my password. I forgot my password, for example, right? Or I've been kicked out, and I want to reset my password. Now let's log out and show you that if I log out, I can still see my VA button down here. Open that up. I can see that it first tells me I'm not logged in, right? So it doesn't tell me there's 10 open issues because it doesn't know who I am. If I hit show me everything, there's only a very limited set of conversations that I can pick from. I can either speak to a live agent through live agent chat, or I can use reset password and unlock password or an unlock account. Notice that the change password is not in here because that's not what you do when you're not logged in. Let's go to reset password, and now it doesn't ask me for my existing password because it doesn't know who I am, so it asks me for my username. My username is employee. It says, all right, let's see if we can find you. Yep, we found you. And now it's going to ask me a couple of security questions. And these questions, obviously, I had to enroll into this password reset process by providing the answers that are personal to me. So who was my childhood hero? That was, I'm going to display that. See, there you go. You can show that if you want to unhide that. What other questions? Make up my first car. Hang on. I think I typed that properly. I can display this as well. That's not the real number, obviously, but for demo purposes. Childhood hero. Spider-Man. Let's try that again. I'm pretty sure it was Spider-Man. Oh. Let's see. My first car was a Renault. I'm going to display everything. I'm going to be full transparent here. That was. Give me a minute, and now I can reset my password. Right. So I can now reset it to whatever I want it to be. Hit enter. All right, type it again. There we go. And I'll read your entities. Well, anyway, so I'm probably mistyping a lot here. Apologies for that. But that's the process, what it looks like to an end user. Once I've reset that, I can use my credentials here to log in to the portal. Right, now we've gone through what the end result looks like of the password reset process. Let's go and have a look behind the scenes as to what is required to build this up. First of all, if I type in password here in my menu, I can see all the options for password resets. One of them is my password processes. Then I'm going to show, I'm going to hit on properties, and I'm going to do a few other ones that I've marked as favorites here. First of all, password reset processes. Here's where my password processes have been defined. So first of all, the one that I've been using is the default self-service one. So I'm going to open up that process and show you what's in there. So there's a name and a description. The credential store, at this point, this is the local ServiceNow credential store. This is where my credentials are stored for my local ServiceNow password. Here's where I can find other credential stores as well, whether that's Azure or Active Directory. I can install those and I can set up different processes for different credential stores. There's a number of details. Is this available for public access? Yes, it is. Allow users to choose from optional verifications. Yes, and those verifications are set down here. Right, I can go into edit. So currently it's QA verification. So here's where I can say, well, maybe I want to add email verification, or I want to use Google Authenticator. right? If I click both, then both options will be available. For now, I'll just go with QA verification because I want those security questions to be the verification method for my password reset process that I'm working on. Right? And here's the other options like SMS or email verifications that Victor talked about as well. Right? Hit save. So that's one thing. So first of all, that's my process. I need to have those processes set up for the passwords that I want to be password resets that I want to have VA enabled. Now, if I want to enroll, first of all, let me switch to a different user. So I'm going to use impersonate user to impersonate someone else, and that someone else is Joe employee. Now let's type in enroll. All right, so already in my favorites here. So here's the questions that I can pick from. So in my Q&A verification methodology, we have a set of out-of-the-box questions. It's quite a few of them. So here's where I can say, what are the last 5 numbers of your social security number? There we go. What is the make of my first car? That was a Renault. That was a long time ago, though. And what was the childhood hero? Spider-Man. And I'm selecting these myself, right? As an end user, I'm selecting which questions I want to have. I can expand the bank of questions that I want to use as an organization, but here are a lot of out-of-the-box questions that I can use. And if I hit submit, then those are my security questions set for me as an end user. So I can now use, and I've enrolled into those QA verification methodologies. So whatever that QA verification methodology is popping up in whatever process, those are the questions that I need to be having an answer to. Right, so let's switch back to, let's not do that. Let's switch back to the admin to show you the out-of-the-box processes that we have set up. So under Collaboration Designer, I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Here's where your VA your VA topics reside. And if I type in password, I can see we have reset password and change password as templates. So what I need to do, this is what we always advise customers to do whenever using those out-of-the-box VA topics, is go into that template and duplicate. Right? You can't change anything here anyway, so duplicate that. So you'll keep the original. Just give it a name. This is my reset password. It's already there. Reset password process, and now obviously I need to publish that reset password process if I want to show if I want end users to be able to use this. So if I hit publish, that process is now available. Also, this is a process flow. I went over that a little bit quickly. Let's see if it's actually publishing now. It's taking us time to do so, but there we go. So this is just a VA flow. So it's preset. If you want to have any additional verification steps in it, let me just enlarge that a little bit so it becomes visible. It's editable, so you can add any steps that you want to add into that. You can personalize this flow if there's any other steps within that process that you want to have incorporated in that password reset flow. All right, need to do the same thing for change password, and you can use the unlock account process. All of those are available out of the box and can be activated. There's one more thing that I would like to share with you, which is the properties. Under password reset properties, there's obviously a lot of properties you can set, but a number that are very handy. This is, for example, the number of minutes a user needs to wait for resetting or changing password after exceeding the maximum allowed unsuccessful attempts. Right, currently set to 1440, giving IT a full day to see what's going on and blocking that user for that full 1440 minutes. The same one for the number of minutes a user needs to wait or with resetting change password after the last successful. And this is also set to a day. Number of unsuccessful attempts, also that is 3. If a user has made a mistake and had 3 unsuccessful attempts, or if they reset their password recently, so this 1414 minutes is going to count, they will show up on the blocked users. Right? And here, whenever there's a user that is blocked, it will probably be temporarily blocked if it's falling under that time constraint. You can unblock that single user if you're sure that's what you want to do. But also this obviously adds that extra layer of security. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it back to Victor. Victor, are there any questions that came in you want me to have a look at?
Boy, are there questions, but that's great. Questions are good. Yeah, we do have a couple. I'm going to try to synthesize and summarize them, and maybe take some myself, and then maybe direct some to you, Paul, if you know. The biggest question set of questions I've heard is whether this password changes for Active Directory accounts only, Microsoft Active Directory, or is it available for other ERP systems as well, such as Oracle and whatnot. I will address the first part at least. So, what Paul showed is a virtual is using virtual agent as a interaction point to reset your password. So as I mentioned earlier, password reset is a core IT service management solution, and with that solution, you can change your Active Directory and or your Microsoft Active Directory passwords, but that does require additional plugins and spokes, our integration hub spokes, outside of virtual agents. So the answer is yes. You just do need some additional setup, and there are some. If you visit our documentation at docs.servicenow.com, you could see how to install those plugins and what are the abilities and limitations of that. So that's how we address that. In terms of being able to reset external applications passwords, that's of course outside the scope of this academy. It's not a use case that I myself know whether it's possible or not. I don't know, Paul, if you know or not. If not, then that's something we can just kind of take back and perhaps answer down the road.
Well, the only thing I know is that we obviously supported credential stores like AD, Azure, and Okta. But we
Yeah,
can also store custom credential stores. So the answer to that would be yes. But yeah, might be good to also elaborate on that further offline.
great. Cool. Okay, we got some questions being cleared and some other questions coming in. Can we confirm that the password and security questions will remain masked in interaction records and logs? I can address that. The answer to that is yes. So again, that's the core platform feature. I'm sorry, core platform feature that virtual agent has. So if I type in something and I go to interaction log, or even if I go into the virtual agent designer to test my password topics, it's going to be masked. All you're going to see is a bunch of gibberish when the input is secured, which is also a configuration. If it's not secured, either for testing or just because you don't want it secured, you'll see Superman or the last 5 digits of the social. But if you have it secured, you will not in the background. You will not see it. Cool. Where do we look at reading further? Where do we need to define question and answers for question and answer verification? I think Paul, you showed that later on in the demo, right?
Yep.
Okay,
And
cool.
then maybe I think I mentioned it, but that bank of questions can be expanded or can be tailored, so it's not a fixed set of questions. So yeah.
Great. For SMS verification, does that work with other markets, carriers, or just the US? Um, I have not tried it outside the I've not tried it outside the US, to be honest.
I haven't tried it either. Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know Paul is outside the US. If one day you try it, and you can probably tell us.
I will. I
um,
will.
yeah. Um, what happens if a user does not have the question set? How can they reset their password if that is the only verification method?
Well, it requires them to enroll to those questions. Obviously, if they're logged out of ServiceNow and they can't enroll, then they need to find another means of resetting their password. We probably can't help them with any of these automated processes, but that's the way. I mean, I think I said, you can select more than one verification methodology per process. So if you have done that, and the end user can then select one of the other methods, whether that's SMS or email verification, or then they can use that. If the only way is the security questions and they haven't enrolled, then there's no way to use this process to reset their password.
Great. Are we able to pull in verification questions that exist for the user for, say, Azure Active Directory?
I don't know. I guess we can. But again, that's really outside of VA and MAU. That's just how do we input that data out of an external data source? I don't know.
Hey,
Maybe anybody
Paul,
else.
yeah, hi, this is Nabil. I believe this is outside of VA. This depends on that spoke and the way it was built. So if that spoke support that, we will do that.
Yeah, let's see, anonymous. I would invite to look. We do have documentation on. If you look under password reset, we do have setup guides for Microsoft Azure Directory password reset. Um, there are some limitations. I don't think they don't mention verification questions as one of them, but there are some limitations. We don't have every. I know we're, by the way, speaking out of bounds of virtual agent, but just to quickly address your question, there are some limit. We do not port over every security feature that a Microsoft Azure Directory has to ServiceNow, let alone virtual agents. Such things include the password strength indicator and custom UI macros. So I would again refer to the documentation in that regards. Okay, can you reset passwords for other systems outside of ServiceNow? I think we addressed that previously. So I wouldn't say every system outside of ServiceNow, but I think certainly Active Directory and Microsoft Azure Directory, we do have, if we have a spoke or integration for it, then the answer is yes. Otherwise, probably not. So it depend on what system we're referring to. Mikhail asks, how will it behave through the Teams channel, especially password masking? Now, I do not believe that secure input currently works with Microsoft Teams. That is not only a limitation on our end, that is a limitation on Teams's end as well, and its ability to secure inputs. So safe harbor wise, it is being investigated or evaluated on our roadmap, but it is not available in Quebec. Next question: Are there other support other than token providers like RSA Secure ID? I don't know the answer to that. Paul, when you were selecting token providers in the config, did you see other options?
I can quickly check.
Yeah. While we do that offline, I'll just go through the questions. Siegfried asks, do you support YubiKey 2FA verification? I don't think we know. It's not a yes or no. We just don't know. I'm going to try to focus on any questions that relate to password reset within the context of virtual agent. Unfortunately, we don't have a password reset product manager here. That might have, in retrospect, that might have been helpful. But let me just scroll down the questions here.
On the verification methodologies, I only see Google Authenticator. I don't see RSA. That doesn't mean we don't have that, but it just doesn't show up in my list.
Awesome. And then something I will post in the chat. Oh, we have Q&As in chat as well. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to paste the documentation link to the broader password reset feature delivered by IT Service Management, and that goes into way more in depth into password reset feature itself. Okay, last minute question came in. How do you suggest we differentiate between the password reset systems within the conversation?
Sorry, Victor, can you repeat that question again?
Sorry. Yeah, that was kind of fast. How do you suggest we differentiate between the password reset systems within the conversation?
Okay, really good question. So I believe you might have multiple systems that you want to handle the reset password for. First, you need to make sure that the system is considered an entity or part of the flow, right? You cannot have one topic for each system. And within that topic, you need to have the topic block being used to kind of differentiate to call the spoke that is related to the other system. Let's assume you have, let's say, system 1 that will be handled by topic block 1, system 2 will be handled by topic block 2, and that etc. So you need to make sure that the topic it does not handle one system, because when you try to discover that topic, you're going to have a challenge navigate to the right one. I hope that answers.
Awesome. Thank you again for listening. I will wrap things up. We are at time. Again, thank you for attending our Virtual Agent Academy this morning or this evening, wherever you are in the world. Stay tuned next time where we will do more Virtual Agent Academy, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you.